What made me start cutting hair was when we were younger, me and my brother. My father used to always take us to the barbershop down the street from the house called Cal's Barbershop. It was a neighborhood shop that everybody went to. It was one of those things where my dad was super strict with me and my brother, and we always used to get flat top crew cuts. We used to hate it. So it got to the point where we started growing our hair out, and we asked our mother if we can go with her to the salon just to get it trimmed. And then over time, we kind of got tired of that as well. And then I ended up getting a pair of clippers my mom bought me. And I just started cutting me and my brother up. Next thing you know, I'm cutting everybody in the neighborhood. I never thought I would be a barber, to be honest. I always wanted to be a dentist growing up, but I kind of just veered into it, man. I veered into it, and it was something that I always loved doing. When I started it, I just got a passion for it, man. It was weird. I just started liking it little by little, and I just grew on it. When I first started cutting hair, I was cutting hair for free because I was trying to learn. I was still learning in the learning procedure. So it wasn't until I was probably about 14 years old where I was going to clean a barbershop. I would go there on the regular just to clean and watch these guys cut hair, until one day the guy saw me consistently going, the barbershop owner, and he says, if you want, you can come in and cut your friends only. No clientele that comes in, just your friends. And at that point, I started charging like 10 bucks a cut. I'm like, hey man, I got my seat here. Now you guys got to start paying, you know? And so it was $10 a haircut. And of course, with time, went up little by little. But once I started getting paid to cut hair, I'm like, man, I really like this. You know what I mean? It's easy. I'm a people's person, so I love talking to people. So it was one of those things that I saw myself being able to do and continuing to elevate to the next level. There was people along the way that taught me how to adjust clippers, people that kind of guide you if they see you doing something wrong, that helped me out, every now and then. I would say as a mentor, I look up to a guy named Charles. He has a barbershop in Old Bridge, New Jersey called Charles Classic Cuts. He was probably one of the most coolest people that you could meet, bro. Like super down to earth. He could teach anybody, and no matter who you were, he would be able to teach you. If you got frustrated, he was there to tell you like, hey man, chill, we got this, we're gonna make it happen, you know what I mean? So he was one of the guys I always looked up to, man, because just how he was a very genuine person, and he taught me a lot about it. It's one of those things where now, me being a business owner, there's certain guys, like I just hired a guy, I know that he's not up to par with the rest, but I know little by little, just him being surrounded, I put myself in his shoes when I was younger, how just me going to watch people cut. So I can only imagine like him actually cutting hair and being a part of it already rather than waiting, and me being able to sit next to him and like kind of guide him right away. To him, it's coming natural now, just being around this and seeing it every single day. I decided to open up my own shop because of course there's levels to everything. I started off as the dude boy cleaning shops. Next thing you know, I started working for a few shops. And I was very selective throughout the time of me working for those shops, just because I wanted to be around genuine people. I wanted to be around people that would help me grow, knowing that one day I want my own, which I tackled it pretty well. I mean, I worked for some people, man, that had 3-4 shops, I know this is my first location, first shop. I still know that there's more that I want to do with what I got going on. Not only with the shop, but in the barbering industry. But it's just one of those things, man, just continuing to tackle those obstacles little by little, and knowing and keeping your patience, and knowing that those things are going to fall into place. A lot of things that separate me from a lot of shops in Jacksonville, or a lot of shops in general, just the way we treat our people coming in the doors, from the minute they come in to the minute they leave. The way we're dressed, like I picked the name Precision not just because I want people to give precise haircuts. I picked the name Precision because my vision towards not only having the barbershop and those cuts being precise was how each individual would act towards that clientele coming in the door to the time they leave. So precise in the sense of how they're dressed, precise in the sense of how their haircut comes out, client consultation to make sure that that client wants exactly what they're paying for, and just like the full experience, man. The full experience. A lot of barbershops, you know, around the world, man, they don't capitalize on those things. You know, they fail in the client consultation part, and a lot in just communicating, man, and being able to hold a 5-minute conversation with people. You know, something as simple as remembering the people that sit in your chair and the stories that they told you the last time they came in. That's what makes it count. The first time I had a football player sit in my chair was when I started cutting at the stadium. I worked at a barbershop for about 3 years before I opened up my own, and I started cutting a lot of coaches and you know, the staff that works up at the stadium. And it was not until about three guys came in. The fourth guy that came in was like, "Hey man, we need you at the stadium." And I'm like, "Well, if you can get me a chair in there, I'll go." Comes back 2 weeks later, he's like, "Dude, I got you the chair, so you start this Friday." And I'm like, "What?" So I go into the stadium, and here I am cutting hair. I'm walking into the stadium. Never been into the stadium like that. You know, always as a spectator watching the games. But when I went in, I'm like cutting these guys like, you know, I gave Ramsey a shape up. I would cut Aluwalu. I started cutting Bortles. And you know, I don't know anything about football because my whole life I played soccer. I would watch football with my dad, but I still didn't know a lot of things that were going on, and I didn't know the players like a lot of other people do. So, you know, I'm sitting here shaking these guys' hand and asking them their name, and they're looking at me like I'm like, "You don't know who I am?" And I'm like, "No, man, I don't." But it was a good feeling, man. It was a good feeling because growing up, it's something that I always wanted to tackle. One of those things, you know, watching football players play. I would always look at their haircuts. When I first started cutting hair, that's one thing. Everywhere I went, I was looking at everybody's haircut. And if I saw something wrong with it, I'd be like, "Hey man, here's my card. Give you a free haircut. Let me go ahead and fix that." So it's one of those things where it was awesome, man. The feeling was awesome. And to still be there 7 years later, the opportunity is still there. Them giving me the opportunity 7 years down the road is awesome. First 6 years of business, I really didn't pay attention too much to it, but it's definitely one of those things, man, that I'd like to do a lot more, giving back to the community and whatever it is that I can do, you know, to help out, whether it's going to schools, cutting hair for kids, if it's, you know, beginning of the year, back to school cuts, anything that could help, no charge, just off the heart.